Hey, you all, what's going on? It's your girl Trice. So we have David Anderson here on the conversation Unplugged tonight. David is a financial strategist, not just any financial strategist, a global. So let's make sure we call that out. Global financial strategist, and he has a few things going on. He has a book. He has helped in the White House. He has been featured on TEDx, the Washington Post, Fox News, a variety of sources where he's provided consultative help and advice, as well as things to build financial legacy. We always put emphasis on financial wealth, but we never put emphasis on financial legacy. So glad to have you on the show, David. Welcome. Just tell everybody a little bit about yourself, and then after that, I'm going to play this quick video so you all can see more about what we're going to talk about mostly on today.
Well, look, thanks. I'm so happy to be here, Treese, and to be here. I'm kind of in my down clothes, right? I know they seem like send me pictures in suits and stuff like that, but I'm really happy to be with the people and just talking about financial legacy, wealth creation for 7 generations, and actually creating something sustainable. But beyond that quick story, like I come from very humble beginnings. My mom or dad went to college. They came up from the South with their families, and essentially I was born in Chicago. And look, the biggest thing that happened to me probably significantly was that my mom in the 80s and 90s came down with mental illness, schizophrenia, which is, we're a lot more conscious of mental health now. I mean, we have mental health days, take a mental health moment. But mental health is very complex. I've dealt with it my entire life as far as family members. And so, that really not only put us into poverty, but also, it created a lot of relational challenges, a lot of things in both of our lives and all of my siblings and myself life. And so, essentially at this point, I began to, read a lot of books, self-educate myself, especially after high school. And then I, essentially went to Wall Street, went to the White House under Obama, and then went on to, start businesses, build businesses, sell businesses, buy businesses around the world. I've worked in China, I've worked in Africa, I've worked in Asia, I've worked in Brazil, all over the world. And, I saw certain trend lines that existed. And I think that, for particularly Black men and Black people, things that we should know about and understand. But beyond that, looking forward to this conversation and really just hopefully giving insight to your listeners about things that they can learn and nuances that they can do in their own life to make them better financially, but also better in the world. So, yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much, David. So we're going to play this quick clip that features 1 million Black men, which is an event that's going to be virtual.
Yes.
And we're going to talk about that right after this clip.
Okay.
David Anderson has become synonymous with global Black wealth. Whether he's shaping policies at the World Economic Forum, playing key roles within political circles on both sides, mastering the art of building unshakable wealth on an international scale, or breaking down barriers so that Black men around the world can win. David is the world's best kept financial secret weapon. From the ghettos of Southside Chicago to the Obama White House, to the homes of billionaire moguls, David's receipts stretch well beyond $1 million bank accounts, African royal families, or celebrity inner circles.
But I believe that they did something that all of us can do.
David's true gift is in single-handedly positioning everyday brothers to become global millionaires. Why? Because it's about damn time we own what's ours and have a real seat at the table. Money, power, respect.
Awesome. So, hey, I heard emphasis on it's about damn time, right? So, tell us about this event, 100 million Black men, and what can Black men expect for this event while we're in the month of financial literacy month. And is it open for Black women or is it just for Black men?
So, look, let me just say this first to the ladies. We're encouraging Black women. I mean, obviously, if you Sorry, can you hear me?
I can hear you. There you go. You're back.
Okay. Um, so sorry, put this on do not disturb. Okay, so essentially, if you're a lady, what I would encourage you is that definitely have your whoever men in your life, right? Son, brother, husband, partner, uncle, whoever, get them to attend. And obviously, you can listen in. You might get some great insight as well, particularly for the women. Get some great insight as well. But it is built. It is going to be catered towards black men and the challenges that we have, where we are in the world, and is we're talking about the entire black diaspora. So I'm talking about, the Afro Brazilians. We're talking about the um, Afro Britons, right? The Afro Canadians, those of us in the diaspora, particularly those outside of Africa, in countries that were not built for them, right? That were built for another people group, but where they thrive and have to survive. And so it's going to be built around that and talking about wealth. Obviously, I'll give different key insights for me. Luckily, I've been successful across different verticals and industries. So a lot of insight. We're going to have special guests. We're going to have a lot of different people really just giving insight on ways that they can get the bag, but also ways that they can pass down the bag and how to create things for their children, right? One simple key we're going to talk about we're doing is like, look, if you have any kids that's over 8 years old in your life, they should have a bank account. And the reason why is that you're teaching them in this current system how to participate. Now, some folks say, well, no, I'm going to buy them stock. That's fine. Some people say, I'm going to get them this, that. All of that is fine. However you want to do that, you can do it, right? But the point is that if they're not included in the capitalistic system, they will become a victim. So either you are a participator or you become a victim to it. And so, I want to make sure that black men have that platform and opportunity to do such.
Love it, love it, love it. So, what are the three challenges? If you have to name three challenges for the black man when it comes to financial literacy, in your opinion, in your experience, what are the three challenges that you would say black men have um, to know about financial knowledge and be literate in financial experience and knowledge to help build a legacy with wealth? What are the three challenges do
Yeah,
you feel?
yeah. So number one, I would say the first thing is the biggest challenge I've seen is you got to understand how money works. When I say money from a business perspective, I'm going to say capital. You have to understand how capital moves, how it's sustained, how you get it, right? How do I get capital? But also, how do I leverage the capital system? So what I mean by that is this. It's a simple example, right? Um, in a lot of things that I've done, I haven't used my own money. I have used my own money, but I've used other people's money. And the way and by which you get other people's money, particularly in this system, is hugely important. A lot of folks say, hey, I want to start a business. Sometimes it's not good to start a business. Sometimes you need to buy the business, right? Depending on where you are, right? Where you are in your trajectory in life. Starting a business in some industries don't make sense, but you can definitely buy into a business or buy out a business. Um, so that's number one, right? How does capital move? The second challenge I see most of all, and we're going to address, is being able to see yourself as a black man, particularly in let's say a dominant Brazilian society or American society, and understanding, I want to say your role, but understanding what we can and cannot do. And if we do certain things, what we have to do in order to mitigate, unconscious bias or challenges, right? And so in this pursuit of economic freedom, right, and financial freedom, we're going to go down that route. Like, how do you mitigate? How do you, like, for instance, um, one of my good friends just became a billionaire, right? He just hit it. I'm on my way myself. And, we were talking about some things and just how he did it and some of the nuances he did and how, he went there. But it's a little bit different for a man than a woman or a white man or an Asian man. And so what the biggest thing I see is that, and let's lead me to the third thing, right? Is that there's a lot of education, a lot of advice out there, but the advice and education does not have the proper translation, is what I would say, right? And when I say translation, I'm talking about the ability to speak to, the being able to speak to the fact that if I was talking to someone who was blind or someone who had a different language, I would explain success principles, business principles in a way that they could understand it, a way that entered into their context. So you have a lot of folks online and they're talking about their private jet, they're talking about their house, and that's all candy. It sounds all great and beautiful, right? But how does this translate when I'm a man and I have a wife, I have two kids, right? And I have to provide for them and yet build a dream. How does it relate when I'm 22 years old, right? And I don't come from much, right? And I don't have anyone I can ask for a loan or do anything, right? How does it translate? How does it translate for the man who is now 50 years old, right? And really didn't understand some things, got laid off, finally got right sized, and he's only sitting on his last $150,000 from his retirement, but now you have to figure out a way to make money into his 60s, right? And so I'm really going to be getting into that, right, and helping people make money moves to get the bag, but also taking advantage and understanding the economics they live in order to succeed. Hey, I can't hear you.
It'd be good if I was off mute, huh?
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's why editors exist, right?
Right. Thank you. Um, I heard you mention, the differences in people, like individual differences, whether it's languages, whether it is their background, their experience. And I think sometimes we don't think about that when we're giving advice. We just give advice like it's sold in one package, but
Yep.
the advice varies. So, can you explain a time where you gave advice to someone that was similar advice, but you had to kind of change the way that you worded it? Because I heard you mention that based on their culture and or background, you would give the advice to help that person in that situation.
Oh, 100%. I mean, I think the easy example that always exists, right, is that when you're dealing with men and women, I think it's a like this is so true, and women have done a good job in the last 15, 20 years. Um, would I say creating groups of themselves to give insight, right? But let's just talk about women and men. Like, when you're entering a business deal, right, or circumstances, um, there's a bit of what I call the male ecosystem that exists where, the guys go out for a cigar, the guys go out to golf, they go out to whatever, right? They don't go necessarily to like a nail salon, right, or to a spa and to cut a deal, right? At least in America. I'll speak about America. In China, they actually do that in China, but I'll speak about
Okay.
America. Okay.
Okay.
And so when you understand that ecosystem and you understand, okay, as a woman, like there's different moves and nuances. Like it's like, okay, let's go have coffee. A lot of times it's, for your own safety, like, hey, I'm not gonna go meet you, obviously somewhere and do a business deal where, I don't know if it's gonna be a closed space, right? I need something maybe more open. I speak to women often who are closing deals, and I always go, like, look beautiful, look your best, and and be powerful. But do understand that, you know, a lot of times, 80%, 70% of the time, like you're gonna have to curve maybe a guy's advances or a person trying to test you or whatever case is. I'm not saying it's right, and I know we're trying to build a more perfect world, right? But
Hmm.
a lot of men, it's hard for them to sit, in front of a beautiful woman and just let her be beautiful, but yet do business, right?
Yeah.
And so you have to curve that because you're there for business. You're there, to
Right.
be taken seriously for your intellect. So those are challenges, for instance, that women entrepreneurs who I've worked with, who I've helped become millionaires. I've given them the insight. Hey, do this that way, not this way, because this is going to. So that same insight, like to say to black men, just an example, right, who live in countries that are built around a European ecosystem or Brazilian ecosystem, um, to say, hey, just do what I do and listen to these other folks talk and just do like no, no. You have to understand what your strengths, weaknesses, right? So your own
Right.
SWOT analysis is and how you fit in that culture. When I worked in China, it was so beautiful because it was great because as a Black American, which is how they saw me as an American. Um, it's a Chinese. China's built for the Chinese. The toilets are built for the Chinese. The doors are built for the Chinese. Everything is built for the
Yeah.
Chinese.
Yeah.
So I'm a foreigner, and I'm allowed to participate in the system, but I have to understand that, hey, this is built for them, right? And so
Right.
I can participate, but I had to move certain ways in order to, reach the success I wanted to reach. And that's for any group. And I think that for Black men for too long, right, it's kind of like, oh, guys, why don't you just do this? Why don't you just do that? Why don't you just do this? Well, the reality is what happens is that they do it the way that somebody else told them to do it. And then they hit their head, right? And then they become discouraged. They're like, yo, man, F this system. I'm not doing
Right.
nothing in this system because y'all said get money, get rich or die trying. So I went out and I did XXX, but not understanding what could happen, what would happen. How, oh man, but I tried to play that game. I tried to go to the bank and get a loan, whoa, 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 but they didn't do that. Well, man, you came with African black soap to the bank. And what you don't
Right.
understand is that these financial institutions that are established, they have rubrics and metrics inside of them. And they don't understand African black soap. It's not
Right.
that they wouldn't invest in it, but now you have to find a place that takes more alternative views of things because you just went into a bank. They were going to tell you, look, they would have said no to the same person that came with, you know, uh, Middle Eastern brown soap or came to them with, Syrian, whatever. Like they would have said no because it doesn't work in their ecosystem. So as we learn these things, we can make better decisions and move quicker and don't have to go through as many bumps because there are people before us that have done this and done it while being Black. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And that's the thing. I'm all for white folks can give you advice, Asian folks can give you advice, women can give you, I'm all for it. You can get a nugget from anybody. But please understand, it is different. And there's a particular way to do things when you are operating as a Black man in some of these countries. If you do not take that seriously, understand that you will be very disappointed. I'm not saying it's the rule, but I'm saying more than often, here are things that you have to do in order to succeed. It's just different. Doesn't make it wrong or right. It just means that it's different.
Absolutely. And I mean, that makes total sense, especially with you being a financial strategist and knowing that strategy on how do you work, how do you work it around on a global standpoint. So what came to mind for me is you were speaking of more of a global business acumen outside of men coming to 1 million Black men virtual event. What's one thing that a Black man can do to start getting knowledge in global business acumen, not just business acumen, but from a global perspective? What's one thing that they can start doing to start wrapping their minds around
Yep.
that type of knowledge?
I love that question. Let me give it to you real quickly, right? If from a knowledge perspective, right? A knowledge perspective, it's pretty much free. It may cost you a couple $100. You need to download Bloomberg, the Bloomberg app. Why? Because that is one of the epic centers of global business and commerce in the world, right? Bloomberg app, there's a free news and there's paid news stuff. And look, I'm not a sponsor of Bloomberg. Nobody sponsors what we're doing. This is all paid for by us and for us, okay? But what you have to do is consume and understand other media. You should probably listen to Al Jazeera. You should probably listen to the BBC. Just understanding other contexts and how they speak, how they talk, how they operate. But a thing right away to make money is this: is see yourself as an exporter, right? Whether you're exporting the culture, we always yell about cultural appropriation, right? Well, the reality is that why didn't we hire the white person to take our culture, right, and sell it to, right, that culture? Why didn't we take what it is and then sell it to, I was really proud of I think it's ASAP Rocky or ASAP Ferg, actually ASAP Ferg. They've been in Asia exporting trap music. And in the music space, we see this very clearly, right? What made hip hop so powerful was that it became one of our cultural exports. And I know we don't think about it that way, but that's what it was. It's one of our biggest exports is music, jazz, whether it's jazz or R&B or blues or hip hop. We've taken music, made it our own, and then we offer it to the marketplace and to the world, and they consume it. Well, we should think about that across many verticals and many spectrums of Black culture, but also of us, right? What we bring to the table to export to other cultures, right? Because they can use it. I was really proud of Mael recently. I actually went to school with them, the founders of Mael, because they built this hair growth little oil, right, that exists, and all of a sudden, white women started using it, and their hair was growing. They were like, "Oh my God!" And a bunch of people were mad. "Oh my God, this is ours! No, you can't take our stuff. No, that's good. Let this Black company export, right, to other, because
Right.
that makes that company stronger. That makes that company like we have to, like we get upset sometimes. Like, oh my gosh, these companies are coming in our community and they're selling us the cars and they're selling us the yeah. You should be doing the same thing to their community.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
that's the participation I'm talking about. And so I want to free, number one, let's free Black men psychologically. We're going to do that through wealth education and Black identity education, understanding who you are, right? Historically, understanding Mansa Manso, one of the richest men that ever lived in the world. No one has ever reached this wealth. Understanding our history, not only from slavery, but pre-slavery, right? Understanding who you are, your identity, which is tied to wealth. Because I guarantee you, if you make a bunch of money and you don't know who you are, it won't mean a whole lot to you. I see this happen with rappers and folks all the time, right? They get the bag, good hard work, get the bag, but now they're trying to figure out, who am I in this whole scheme of things? And then they have like almost a Black awakening. Like, what? Oh my gosh,
Right.
it's I call it a Black awakening. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So we're gonna free Black men psychologically. Number two, we're going to get them to financial freedom, but also economic freedom. What does that mean? Financial freedom is when you can buy whatever you want to buy. Now, this is something that is in culture a lot. Like, oh, I bought my Gucci purse. Oh, I bought my Lambo. Oh, I bought blah 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 blah. Look, that is financial freedom when you can buy what you want to buy. But there's a second portion to this, which is economic freedom. And economic freedom is when you own the stuff that people buy. It's when you own the Lambo dealership. It is when you own or joint venture with Gucci for the store. It is when you actually have a stake in what other people buy. So now you own, like, for instance, right? You want to, I'm just giving an example of something. One of the companies I own, right? People are like, oh, e-commerce, e-commerce, e-commerce. Fantastic. Well, I own delivery companies. I own an Amazon delivery company. I own a FedEx delivery company. I own delivery companies. Why? Because whatever you do in e-commerce, you're going to have to ship it, right? And so it's learning how to have ownership in the ecosystem and the logistics, right? The third and last thing is this: wealth creation for 7 generations, right? I was in the Middle East talking with some guys and stuff, and this guy's wife was talking to me, and she said, yeah, whatever, like, we're planning for the 7th generation. And I said, the 7th generation? I had never thought about it. I'm like, oh my gosh, like, you do have to plan 150 years ahead to make your decisions. And I know everyone, I know you caught it right now. Yeah, I'll teach you how to get some money right now. I'll teach you how to make a couple $100, couple thousand, couple tens of thousands right now. We'll do that. Fantastic. But let me tell you something. We have to stop believing that we're going to experience all of the joys of the life today. We have to think about not only our children, but other children and what it is that they're going to experience. When I put away my kids' college, I made a bunch of money, said, all right, I'm putting all this away for them for college. Guess what happened to me, Trice? I started to understand a good man leaves an inheritance for his children's children and children's children. And so when you start to understand that life is more than just about you, yes, try to enjoy your money, try to enjoy this time, but you need to have things set up now so that your legacy and the things in the future, and if you don't have kids, that's okay, right? There are other people in your family that you can assist and help. We have to stop, Trice, starting over from zero. It's not wise. It's not wise. Well, they got to get it like the way I got it. Well, yes, I get it. What you want to give them is the work ethic that got you there, but you don't want them to start with zero. You rather they start with 100,000 or start with 1,000,000, right? And learn that lesson so then they can go up from there. Like it's not wise. And so I want to really get to our brothers and my people and say, look, let's look at the. We're gonna give you the tools. We're gonna give you all the stuff. Help you make 1,000,000. When you make 1,000,000, we'll celebrate you. Fantastic. But my question is going to be, okay, great. You made that 1,000,000. Fantastic. Pay your taxes. Okay, great. We good. Now, how are you paving it forward for the next generation? Not giving things away, but how are you paving it forward in the context of what you're responsible of? I call manhood the ordained responsibility. You know, ordained minister? Every man is ordained. You are ordained for responsibility. Right? That is just what it is. Is it fair? Well, you can, whatever. Women have to bear children, right? Is that fair? Hey, we can debate that, right? But guess what we have to do? We have to have responsibility. So, yeah.
Hey, you're over here preaching when I say preaching. You brought up two things. One I was going to ask you about, which was financial legacy, which you touched on right now. I think people always think about the present tense, the now, what can I get now? But they don't think about what can I set myself up for, and then those who come after me and after me and after me. And I think that's what other cultures, if you look around the world, that's what most of them do. They set their family up for continuous wealth that they can pass down and
That's
pass
right.
down.
Even if they don't experience it all. Even if
They don't
Yep.
experience it all.
Mm-hmm.
And it puts them in that selfless realm, but it's like I'm still protecting my family and
That's
making sure
right.
that my family doesn't have to keep starting over from the dirt and the soil and building back up.
That's right.
Because it really doesn't make any sense when you think about it logically. Why would you want to keep falling into the dirt and pulling it up, falling into the dirt and pulling it up, planting seeds over and over each generation when you
That's
can
right.
plant the seed and maintain the growth,
That's
versus
right.
planting the seed and just letting the plant die.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I don't want. It's a shame for us when we have to do GoFundmes for burying grandma,
right,
granddad, cousin. Like, guys, we have to. Like, I'm speaking to the culture now. That's not cool. But everybody's walking inside the funeral, the church, whatever it is, and you got $2,000 on. Like,
right,
let's think about this logically. We had to
right.
GoFundMe grandma's funeral, but I'm wearing 2,000 in clothes. Come on, man.
Or I have a car worth over $200,000, but I'm in an apartment.
That's right. That's
I'm
right.
not making any investments.
Yeah.
That's a disposable
Right.
investment. I'm not making anything that can continue. Yeah, you're not going to see it right away, but if you plant the seed, you'll see it grow and grow and grow. And so I think that's going to be valuable to those who get into that virtual event, 1 million black men. Um, but you brought up one thing that I did want to get your opinion on.
Okay.
And you mentioned how, as black people, we create businesses, but we only focus them in our audience. We only say, hey, our audience is going to be black people. And then we put emphasis on we're a black business. However, if you look at the other businesses, they don't put emphasis on their
Yeah.
ethnicity or race when they
Yeah.
distribute resources.
That's
They
right.
just say, I'm this business, and then I'm gonna market it to whomever, and then export it, whatever the case may be. But there's no emphasis placed on it. What's your opinion on? Do you feel that placing emphasis on I am a black business is helpful or hurtful?
I'm going to say this to you. It depends on the industry, and that's a analysis conversation. It really depends on the industry. What you're in. Some industries, like for instance, I own the Black Skin Institute, which is the first kind of all-inclusive med spa built for black women and black people and black skin. We specialize in black skin because I saw a market and a niche where like there's no way where to go when you're dealing with your skin stuff. At best, you try to look for a black dermatologist at
Right.
best, right?
Right.
But there's no place that says, hey, we specialize in black skin
Right.
with the needs that exist in black skin, right? So in those cases, if you find a market and a niche, then yes, like a real niche that's needed, yes, right? But no, you shouldn't. Like if you're gonna sell tires to everybody. If you're going to sell your services, accounting, whatever the case is, try everybody, right? And I think we do limit ourselves in that space. But again, it depends on the industry and what you're focusing and what you're doing. Sometimes it is a smart strategy to do so, and sometimes it's not. But I do think, speaking about other cultures, like it does not make sense. Like for instance, you know, I don't know. I can pick a bunch of vertical, but I'm just gonna pick one, right? It does not make sense that we're not in the gas station game. Just doesn't make sense, right?
Right.
I mean, like other cultures get the gas stations and then they put all the stuff in there that we like.
Right.
And that's okay. So we're gonna still be mad at them? No. They saw a market. They said, okay, like I'm gonna supply the market, right? But like at the end of the day, my thing is that I'm not look, this is not about black exclusion. This is not about that. This is about understanding who we are, where we are today, and how to move forward, right? About how to move forward and how to move forward in a way as men. Again, speaking to men, okay? Um, we have to make those decisions to say, look, it's time for us to take responsibility to take over. We can't look whether you got baby mama drama, you got an ex, you got a whatever. Those kids are yours, right? You are responsible for their legacy. Okay. Whatever the case is, we carry the burden of responsibility, and that's just what it is. So, again, 1 million black men, free us psychologically, financially, free us and economically, and the last thing is wealth creation for 7 generations.
Love it. And I saw one of the people in the audience, Shanta, she said a lot of times we don't know how to access available resources. And this is right where you can access it. Men, 1 million black men, David Anderson, he's going to get you financially free. He's going to help you build that financial legacy and help start the path of the knowledge and the seeds that you need to start planting, that you don't destroy, but you continue to cultivate. So,
yeah,
I mean, definitely make sure that you sign up. What's the last date that they can register for 100 million black men virtual?
Yeah, 1 million black men. The registration is going to close about the 27th. But look, register now. There's going to be some surprises, some goodies and stuff if you register now for those who register early. But one thing we're going to be doing is that we're going to be giving away some thousands of dollars of investments, but also I'm going to do live. We're going to try to do some $1 million deals live with audience members, probably tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, but we're actually going to do deals live, right? So we're going to put deals together, do some business together live as well, but we're also going to be offering some teachers, and folks are at different levels, right? The guy who has a $250,000 side hustle is very different than the guy that has a $50,000 job. And so we're going to be trying to address those different nuances. And then the guy who's 45 with 3 kids and been married for 20 years, right? He's at a different crossroads than the guy who's 25 and he barely got a girlfriend. It's going to be different, but we're going to address all of those issues in a way where you can succeed, win, and make it happen.
I like that. Succeed, win, and make it happen. I mean, that just hits it right on target. So where can they contact you on social media if they want to connect, follow you so that they can purchase your book? I know that you have a book out there in several different languages. How can people connect with you and follow you so even outside of 1 million black men virtual event, they can still be fed, with
Yeah.
all of the
Yeah.
insight that you have.
Well, 1 million black men is our Instagram handle as well now. Also, we have a Facebook group, but that's actually private. It'll be for a lot of folks who are VIPs. And then we have, I don't know, my social media team's working on some linked up on LinkedIn and some other stuff here and there. But again, look, I'm not looking to be, I'll be honest with you guys and you guys who are listening. I'm not looking to be no celebrity. Like, I could care less. Okay. I want to educate my people. I want my people to win. And I want them to understand that they can win, although the country is built a certain way. That's what I'm really about. So at the end of the day, we're going to meet people. I may have to do the celebrity thing for a little while, but I'm not in this like, we're going to make money. It's going to be self-sustaining. I believe everything in your life needs to be self-sustaining and making money. However, I'm not doing this for, a bag and the money's part. I'm really doing this for, I think it's necessary, right? You got all these folks out here talking about how to be rich and how to do this, how to do that. But it's like, okay, how does this apply to me and how do I do it in my context? And so I just wanted to step off and say, look, let me finally get in the game. I've invested in online marketing stuff. I've made money, millions in it. And now it was time for me to say, you know what, let's make some things happen.
Yeah, I love it. Well, if you hadn't gotten online, you better get online today and go ahead and get your tickets. Is there like a certain amount of people who will be able to get to this event, or will it
Yeah,
be
we're actually going to cap this thing. I want it to be very quality driven, so we're going to cap it. We already have a few thousand tickets sold. I mean, not sold, but registered folks. But we're probably going to cap it at about 10,000 this time, and then I'm probably going to next time go to 100,000, and then go to 1 million. That's how we're going to do it. So
nice? So you heard that it's capped at 10,000. So you need to go get your ticket today and go on 1millionblackmen.com. Make sure that you have a seat,
at
so
the
that you
table,
can
that's right.
start building that seed and cultivating that plant.
You got it.
Thank you so much, David. I really appreciate you being on the Conversation Unplugged today. I
Yeah.
mean, you brought a whole bunch of knowledge, and that's just a snippet, you all, of what the virtual event is going to be, man.
Oh
So
yeah.
make
Yeah.
sure that you go and sign up. And how much does it cost?
Zero to register. Zero to register. There will be upgrades that will be announced later, but zero to register. Get in, get the free information. If it helps you, I want you to thrive, not just survive. I want you to thrive.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much. Again, make sure that you check them out on Facebook, Instagram, 1millionblackmen.com. Register for the event. Zero. But if you want some upgrades, they are there for you. And make sure that you follow them so that you can continue to be in the loop. I know if you register for that event, you will have some information to continue to be in the loop.
Yes.
Thank you so much, you all, for being with us today on the Conversation Unplugged. And this is your girl, Trice, with David Anderson. Peace.
Peace. Thank you.